They've spoken twice by telephone in recent days and still not been able to bridge the gaps. Boris Johnson and Ursula von der Leyen forced to admit the conditions for a deal are simply not there. When the EU's chief negotiator, Michel Barnier, briefed EU ambassadors this week, he was described as being downbeat and gloomy, with no tangible progress on the three main sticking points of fisheries, a level playing field and dispute resolution. So ahead of the leaders' face-to-face meeting in Brussels, the negotiating teams have been asked to step back, take stock and produce a summary report.
At that stage, more than ever, the Brexit is a school of patience, even a university of patience.
The work of the negotiating teams is constrained by their own respective mandates. The political leaders, of course, have a little bit more leeway within the bounds of their own political red lines. Face-to-face talks may unlock the impasse, or, presented with a list of just how big their differences are, the two leaders may end up admitting defeat. Most commentators regard the dispute over fishing rights as solvable. Where the two sides have run into more trouble is issues of fundamental principles, such as the concept of sovereignty. To access the EU's single market, the UK accepts it will have to abide by EU standards and rules. But it bristles at the idea that the EU could impose rules and sanctions that seem overbearing.
You've got to be optimistic. You've got to believe that there's the power of sweet reason to get this thing over the line. But I've got to tell you, it's looking very, very difficult at the moment.
There may even be a third way, another stretching out of the already stretched deadlines.
It's looking very likely that the EU will have to use the procedure of a provisional application, which would mean that the deal will enter into force, even if the ratification will not have been completed yet, which throws up the risk that if one actor at the EU side still have to ratify in February or so, that the deal would be off and would be null and void retroactively, which would be, of course, a legal nightmare.
The mood was certainly improved with Tuesday's news that the UK and EU had reached agreement in principle on border checks in Northern Ireland, with the result that the UK withdrew contentious proposals to override the legally binding Brexit withdrawal agreement. But the main talks remain on a knife edge, and a slightly better mood may not be enough to overcome the substantial differences. Paul Brennan, Al Jazeera, Brussels.